Welcome, everybody. Thursday morning, at least here on the East Coast. I'm not sure where you are. Hopefully, you're scattered all over the globe, and the weather's good. Weather's good here in North Carolina. It's cold, but it's good. So excited to have everybody. As you have seen in the announcement, and as you can see in the chat box on the left side of the screen, our new emote is live. So thank you to everybody for helping us get to a point where we can have our own custom emotes. That's exciting, and it's even more exciting to actually have our own. I got a little nervous. I submitted it, and it was, I was told it was going to take up to 3 weeks. It took like 24 hours. So for those of you that may be new, that is Sir Walter Raleigh behind me. Or if you're talking to Agile Jamie Collins, he will correct you and tell you it's Sir Walter Raleigh. So he's been in the back of most of my streams. So decided to make him an emote. So that's our first one. Hopefully there will be many more we open up the bigger our stream gets. So thank you to everyone again for helping us make this happen. Also, thank you to Agile Ideation for subscribing with Twitch Prime. Thanks so much. That helps support the stream and everything we do. I appreciate it so much. Good to see we've got some VIPs in the room. Scrum Sarge helping kick things off. Fire Sue here. Agile Ideation, new subscriber. Thanks a bunch. Excited to have you. So, thank you. Well, Jamie, certainly a hat tip to you, sir. If I had a better British accent, I would give you some good British accent back. But you were the inspiration for this. So we do have a Slack channel that a few folks created, and Jamie did a face swap with me and Walter. And it was quite humorous. So that gave me the idea to turn it into our first emote. So if you haven't seen it, or you're just tuning in and maybe chat's not refreshed, that's Walter. That's the painting behind me. So thank you to everyone again for helping make that happen. If you're new, follow, subscribe. You can, as you can see down below, you can type in !Prime and get information on how to subscribe with Twitch Prime. But that's not why we're here. We're here to help each other. So I've been fantastically surprised by how supportive everyone is. I don't know why I'm so surprised, because Agile coaches are just super supportive. And this is a fantastic community where we're here to help each other. Other ways you can get help, if you're in the browser, you'll see if you hover your mouse in the upper right hand corner, there's an Amazon plugin there that shows recommended books. So I've put books in there that have helped me, and I know some other folks have shared books. So as you share books, I'm going to put them in there so that any follower has a chance to see books that this group recommends. So that's just a bit of info. I did some work past couple days to get that rolling, and hopefully help to give back for folks that maybe haven't been able to see all of our streams. That's some information that hopefully will help people out. So first topic of the day, until we get a question or two or 5 or 20, is metrics. We had a good discussion, probably a week or two ago about metrics, and it's a touchy subject. Some people got a little concerned, as they always do, about how metrics can be misused, and how if you can control the metrics, you can control the messaging, they can have a positive effect on your team. I do some side work. As you know, I guess it's not side work anymore. It's my job. So I go and I help companies, and I'm helping a company here in Raleigh, and I was introduced to a metric that I had never heard and I thought was absolutely fantastic. So I wanted to bounce it off of you guys and get feedback on what you guys think, and if you think it would make sense for you to use it. I believe the origin of the metric is from a book called the DevOps Handbook. I've not looked it up, but a large group within this company that I'm helping read this book, and they're buying into it, and they're going hot and heavy into it. It seems to be working very well. But the key metric was deployments per engineer. I thought I had never heard of that. I thought that was a fantastic way to measure how quickly, how effectively you're shipping code. We all have heard about the Amazons and Googles and folks like that are shipping multiple times a day. How many times are you shipping? Oh, there you go. Josh is Agile, another person pushing DevOps Handbook. So I'll get that added to our recommended books list when some folks come back and say it's a good thing. Yeah, so it was not per team, Derek. I guess I didn't think of it like that. But that was something that kind of struck me as something that I thought was interesting, and I think I may start to weave into suggestions for metrics. Now they have a whole slew of metrics that this team tracks, and they're pretty hot and heavy into it. And they actually review their metrics as a leadership team, the leadership team of the engineering org, after every sprint, and they use it in the good, positive way that I talked about. They're able to control which way it gets. So they get all their leaders in a room and they look at the metrics and they use that as a discussion starter, much like a story. Again, pretty fantastic. So Derek, the one thing that it was not labeled, this person deploys this many times, it was holistically across the entire org. How many deployments per engineer are we doing? And I think if you can get that number to go up, I think you're in good shape. Now, if you want to measure it by team, that's fine. Whatever unit of measure you want to use, I think it's a fantastic idea to try out, to really encourage the team to figure out how responsive can we be. Because if you really think about the core of Agile and what it's about getting value to customers as quickly as possible. So if you're able to exhibit a behavior that you can more readily ship value to your customer, whether it's a bug fix or a new feature or whatever it may be, I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, definitely don't tie it to an individual. Don't say, well, Sue ships 5 times a day and Josh ships 3 times a day, so Sue's better, right? Definitely don't do that. That's not a direction that you want to go. But if you anonymize it and keep it holistically and you talk about it to the group as this is a number we own, as a number that we are responsible for. Oh, Agile Derek, sorry, that's only if you're a subscriber. Actually, you are a subscriber. So do a capital W and maybe that'll work better. Or you can hit the little emoji face in the chat window next to the little triangle bits thing. So that should pop it up for you. There we go. Emojis flying. Another thing that I added that I thought was cool, and some people might consider it silly. If you are in a browser, not in the Twitch app, but if you're in a browser, you can scroll down and see the panels, and it's tracking points. So it's points based on folks that are here, how engaged they are. So it's just something fun to kind of keep things going. So anyways, just trying to keep it lively here. So that was a new metric that I thought was cool. Just wanted to get some feedback from you. So I'm catching up on the chat here because I was rolling. Okay, Agile Ideation. Maybe they didn't take it directly from there, but they were talking to me about all the metrics that they used, and that was how they started the discussion. So maybe that spurred them off into figuring out some metrics that mattered to them. And I had heard most of the other metrics, but I had never heard of the deploys per engineer or deploys per team or deploys per day. Again, it doesn't matter what unit you use, but again, what we're here to do, we're here to ship software. So I think it's better if we can ship more often. That's my view. So questions, do we have anything out there that people needs help with? Maybe? No? That's okay if you don't. So I'll get that DevOps handbook added. It seems like a pretty positive review from people. Yeah, so Agile Ideation, I'm just catching up on your last chat comment, and they are pushing mean time to recover, change fall rate. They aren't doing lead time per changes, but they are using deploy frequency. So maybe that is where they got it. Yeah, I've never had a lot of success tracking lead time. It's always been and sounded cool, but honestly, I've done a poor job of tracking things from ideation to shipment. So that's one of the things that I've wrestled with, is really capturing that true metric, the true timing of when that happened, because so often people start talking about something and then it doesn't get entered into Jira until some point later. So I've had a hard time making that a truly accurate metric. So again, I don't know what other folks think out there. Maybe they've had better success with that, but I've tried because I do think it's cool. I think it could add value, but I've struggled to effectively deliver on that and have it be true, accurate data. All right, here we go. Scrum Sarge. Should our Scrum Masters report to the same managers that the dev team does, or should they have their own HR unit and manager? So as far as a direct manager, a personnel manager, I do think it should be someone else. When I've run teams, I didn't have a manager over all of the Agile coaches and Scrum Masters, but they did report to me. All of the developers and other engineers did roll up to directors that reported to me. So I was uncomfortable having the Scrum Masters, having everybody report to the directors directly. Architects reported to me. We eventually hired more architects, and they started reporting to the enterprise architect. So that started to exist. And the way that I break down my teams and my focus is there's people, which are the people managers. There's process, which is the Agile coaches and Scrum Masters. Then there's the product. And I have the architects are responsible for the product. So I have them focus on how are we building things? Are we building them the right way? Is our technical debt in order? The Agile coaches, Scrum Masters focus on the process. And do we have a world-class process? Do we have too much process? Do we not have enough process? Do we need to tweak our process? What can and should we fix? Then the direct line managers are responsible for growing the people that work in that process, that deliver the product. That's their focus. And I like to have, if I can and if I have the budget, have someone that owns each of those areas. That's again driving growth for each of those folks in those three buckets. So that's the approach that I take, and I've been very happy with that, and that's worked well for me. So Scrum Sarge, be interested to hear your feedback on what you think about that and what your opinion is. So Agile ideation, I have not used that metric. I've not heard about it before, but Mr. Nieberg is good. I certainly appreciate everything that he did at Spotify. He's done some pretty cool stuff at Lego. So I'll do a little studying up on that and trying to figure that out. And absolutely, Jamie Collins, I don't know who said that, but I think whoever said that about only sharing a metric with someone who could do something about it, I think they're a pretty smart person. It might have been me, or maybe I stole it from somebody. I don't know. Yeah, I do think it's challenging for. I just like to have people focus on doing one thing well, doing one thing great. Focus on growing these people. Focus on helping them progress their career in the way that they want to. Then I have the Agile coaches focus on how do we get to be world class with our process. Our architects, how do we get to have a world-class product that we're going to be proud of, that we're not going to be paying technical debt for the next 5 decades? Those are the areas of focus. Now, you do need someone that is in the trenches helping each of those Agile coaches grow and helping each of those architects grow. So you do need a people manager in each of those buckets leading the charge, because what I've found is that when people find or they believe that their opportunity to grow has hit the ceiling in their company, they're going to leave. Yes, they leave. There's all these writings about they leave managers, they leave organizations, but what I've found, at least with the type of people that I hired, is that when they look a year down the road or 2 years down the road, however many months, whatever it is for them, and they feel like they're not going to get better here, they're going to go find somewhere where they can get better. Is it a better leader? Is it a better technology? Is it a better market? Is it a better whatever? So that's what I always look at, and I really focus on, and I have a lot of my leaders focus on, is make sure everybody has visibility into growth in the directions that they want to grow. Now you've got to spend time understanding how people want to grow, because not everybody wants to grow the same way. Okay, let me dig in here to agile ideation. So number one, agile ideation. Making the transition to becoming a leader of people is difficult. It takes time, and this person is going to screw up. So number one, have patience. I think you're doing the right thing in coming here and asking questions in hopes of bringing something back and helping him accelerate the transition into being a great leader. Becoming a leader is hard, especially when you've been in the trenches. You just have to change the way you think and the things that you focus on. Becoming a leader is challenging. So be patient with this person, please. As someone who's made that transition and screwed it up royally, please be patient with that person. It is harder than many think. So let's see. Roles and responsibilities. How do you view the team manager in an agile, Scrum, DevOps world? So again, it goes back to what I challenge my people managers with is forget about the technology, forget about whatever. I've got somebody else to handle that. Your job, your responsibility is to help the engineers, help whoever reports to them become as effective as possible. How do you help them grow? How do you support them? How do you give them what they need? That's the thing they need to spend time focusing on. When you do that, when you continuously improve a group of 8, 10, 12, 20 people, however many people report to this person, if you can get each of those people 5% better, multiply that times the number of people that are on the team, and you've increased your ability to execute, deliver, be consistent, be accurate, whatever your metrics are to ship, that much more. Again, that's easy to say, but it's hard to do. It's hard to really spend time and transition your mind, especially for a new leader, into having that be their focus. And I tell you what, people are hard. People are difficult. I talk about this all the time about when you come out of a development role. I consider testing a development role as well. To me, we're all building something. When you come out of that, you've spent most of your life working with something where you go in, you change a few lines of code, you hit run, and it's fixed. People don't work like that. It's harder. It takes more time. You have to learn and understand how people build new habits and shed old ones, and how to support them, and how not to be a micromanager. Because almost every manager out of the gate is going to be a micromanager because they're scared and they don't know what they're doing. So unfortunately, they squeeze too tight, and that's when problems step in. So I would actually, one of the things that helped me if you open that Amazon thing, one of the things that I really appreciated was Turn the Ship Around. So that's a recommended book there. That helped me, and I think it would be helpful for new leaders to read that and understand what a true leader is versus just a manager. So I might ask to read that book together as a group and get everybody to think about that. Or maybe you can just give it to him and he's fine with that and he's willing and ready and able to accept that and be like, yes, thank you. I'll go read that book. And they're excited. So hopefully it's like that. Hopefully the relationship you have with this person is like that. And you can go and make that happen. Yeah, Scarge. I did that to you last time. I squish your names together. So Scrum Sarge, I think you're right. Unfortunately, that reporting structure does sneak into how people operate. I've talked about wrestling with that before, just as a leader and wanting people to think of me not as their leader, but it doesn't matter. They know who's doing the review, who's talking about promotions and doing all those things that allow people to grow in the various ways that they want to grow. And it's not fair for you to ask them to get that out of their brain. So I do think the likelihood of a Scrum Master directly coaching their own manager is lower than it should be. There will be very effective, very high level coaches that will do that. That's something that I've tried to transition into over, the past probably 4 or 5 years. I've been really working on improving my ability to coach up. I was super effective at coaching horizontally, coaching down. I was terribly ineffective at coaching up. And by terribly ineffective, I mean I just didn't do it for all of the reasons that you mentioned there. So that was one of those things that 4 or 5 years ago, I felt really guilty because I knew I wasn't doing a good enough job coaching up. And my inability to do that was restricting the ability for my teams to go as fast as they could. So I put it on myself to really try and focus more on that. I don't think I'm there yet. What has changed within me is that I've just accepted this, that it's my responsibility to go have this difficult discussion with my manager or my boss's boss or the CEO or the board members or whatever. I was representing the team. And if I didn't go have that discussion, I wasn't doing my job and I felt like a jerk. So I used that to force my hand to go have that conversation. And the first ones were clunky and they weren't good and they weren't effective. But over time, as with anything, the more I did it, the better I got. And now I am way more comfortable going and having those discussions because I've stumbled. I've made mistakes. So one thing I haven't found is I haven't found a book or something that says this is how you coach up. Crucial Conversations helped. That's one of those things that helped me learn how to frame things and understand that. So let's see, Scrum Sarge, if you are watching in the browser and you hover your mouse in the upper right hand screen just below the live, you'll see this Amazon pop out happen, and you can click on that purple arrow that's pointing left, and then it has a list of recommended books there. Those are books that I use very often that I found that actually made a difference in my career, that I think not only make a difference, but one of the things that I do whenever I start a new job is I create a page in Confluence or whatever wiki you and your team use, and I list recommended readings and I explain why. I talk about each book and the things it taught me and why it would be beneficial. I force most teams to go through debugging teams and Crucial Conversations because I think it really helps them learn how to interact with each other. But the others are recommendations, and there are some people that will follow up and read it, others won't, and that's okay. I'm not forcing their hand, it's just a recommendation. But I do have a friend that's now a CTO somewhere that worked for me a couple times that I suggested that he read The Lean Startup. And he had the greatest response I've ever heard. He actually said the book changed his life. It didn't quite do that for me, but I really enjoyed it. So I was happy that I was able to point him in that direction. So let's see. Lint, or Lynn, Texas. Hopefully I'll get that right. Like I said, I just got to this point where I felt like if I wasn't having that discussion, I was letting my team down. I was letting that group of 70 people that I'm leading, I was letting them down. So I just went in and just started having discussions. And like I said, I didn't do a very good job with it. I really struggled. I had a friend recommend the Crucial Conversations book, and that helped me really understand how to tackle those discussions better. It helped me work at framing those discussions. It helped me understand what was going on inside of me. That was the one thing that hit me, was it talked about the chemistry and the things that go on inside your body when you're having a very important conversation about important things that are going to affect you directly, right? Those are things that are difficult and challenging. Your body actually works against you. So that was one of those things that as I understood that, I was able to prep myself before going in. Other than that, there were no tricks, there were no tips, there was no this is how you talk to executives or anything like that, because they're people just like you and me. The challenge is, it's a intense moment. You walk in with a little bit of fear and you're unsure, and your body, your chemistry again starts to work against you. So the book really helped me understand how to work with that and make sure that I did a better job representing myself and my team in the directions that we were trying to go. All right, so Scrum Sarge is talking about the 360-degree leader, something that helps him. Yeah, I think that's so those last 3 words from Scrum Sarge, being prepared and balanced. I think that's a fantastic visual to have when you walk in that room. If you can prep yourself and you can walk in there prepped and balanced. And when I think of balanced, what I think of is being able to see all sides and not coming in with this hammer of, this is my answer, you're going to listen to me and you're going to like it, and if you don't like it, I'm going to keep hitting you over the head until you do like it. Or you have to go in there, present your honest opinion, and be willing to listen. Because as soon as you start not listening, they've stopped listening. So, Scrum Sarge, crushing it again. Ooh, the Scrum Princess. I've never heard of that one. Lynn, it should not be available only to subscribers. It should be available to everyone. Are you watching in a browser? Because I have 2 monitors, and it's interesting. The functionality is different when I watch in the browser versus if I watch in the Twitch app itself. So it may depend on what you're watching in or watching on. So I get the special extensions in a browser, but not in the Twitch app. So if you're on a phone or something like that, it might not work. You do have to click on the video stream, and then you'll see that pop up in the upper right-hand corner. Eternal Round, thanks for the follow. Okay, yeah, browser Chrome. So click somewhere on the video, and then upper right-hand corner, you should see the Amazon pop out. And then you can click on that. There's a suggested or recommended books that are out there. You can click on that. And I'll be adding some of these things. So I'm going to look up the Scrum Princess. Nonviolent communication from Scrum Sarge is interesting. Yeah, the Crucial Conversations, again, Scrum Sarge rocking and rolling. Framing was the big thing for me, right? Like, I just walked into those first meetings and just started talking. And I didn't frame things well. I didn't prep. To Scrum Sarge's point, I wasn't real balanced. I just went in like, I need to go fix this. I need to go represent my team. And I just went in and didn't do as well as I would have liked. But in true Agile manner, I kept iterating and working and finding help. And these are some of the books that helped me. So, Lynn, hopefully you're able to see that there. If you can't get it directly, there's I think everybody's posted or at least named some books that have helped them. So that certainly is a shortcut in the browser with the extension we have there, but not the only way for you to get there. All right, so just because it's fun, I'm going to put a few Walters there. Because Walter's the man. Wow. All right, Jamie, I'm checking this out here. There's nothing that would persuade us. That's a little troubling. So, Jamie, the one thing that I would say is that's one of those instances where you have to say it 7 times. So often, when you present a contradictory point or challenge people, they stop listening after the initial challenge because they're just frustrated at you and they're angry at you because you don't agree with them. So I bet if you come back and you've allowed them to think about it and just start asking them questions, I bet your second discussion won't be as short and tense. I bet it will be a little bit longer. It might still be tense. It might be a little bit less tense, but I do bet that over time, as you keep having that discussion, number one, each discussion they'll start hearing you more. Right? They probably stopped hearing you at some point. They just got frustrated. They'll start hearing, they'll start listening, they'll start thinking, and as you continue to reprocess that with that group, I bet they'll start to come around and start to think about it. But that's one of those things where you've just got to be patient. And I'm really annoying. Like I just poke people and I keep asking questions, and I'm not going to push them over the edge, but I just keep saying, what if we did that? Or this is probably a situation where if we did insert your suggestion, it probably would be better. So that's the approach that I would take. I would not walk away from that discussion and say, oh, it's over. Certainly keep revisiting. Code reviews are interesting, though, Jamie. And there are many folks that focus on the wrong things in code reviews. Depending on some of the tools that you have, it might. So, are they looking at naming of variables? Are you using where are your curly brackets? Where are your commas? Where are your semicolons? Where are all those things? What I've found is that when you get something like a linter in JavaScript in place, that all takes care of it. You automate that. So people shouldn't spend time looking at where are the commas, where are your parentheses, how are you closing your curly brackets? Is it on the same line? Is it on the line after? Do you indent? Do you do all those things? I take that off the board. And what I have people focus on is architecturally, are we doing the right thing? Is there some reuse that we're not using, that we're creating redundant code? Could we merge these two things together? So those are the approaches that I like to take. And I do agree that most of the value probably comes from the first hour, because number one, your change sets shouldn't be that big. And if your change sets are that big and it takes you more than an hour to review, you may have a bigger problem. So I do think in a reasonable world, if you have a lot of those technologies in place to automate the syntactical things, then they can focus on, is this architecturally correct? Are we creating duplicate code? Does this fit our patterns and practices? That's where I like to have people focus on code review. So depending on how things are going with them, I might agree with them. But again, I don't know the full set of tooling that you and your teams have in place. And if they are focusing on commas and parentheses, then you need to find a way to automate that and get that out. But definitely revisit the conversation. Revisit. Okay, here we go. So, agile ideation. I have argued that pair programming is real-time code review. That if you truly code in a paired or mobbed nature, whichever way it is, however you like to do it, you're doing real-time code review. So at that point, if you're pairing, a code review was already done because you had another set of eyes on it. You had another brain on it, and the two of you are working together. I value multiple brains looking at the same piece of code because software is hard, software is complex, and I don't like to send people alone on it. So whether you choose to do it after the fact with a review on a pull request, or you do it in line with pairing or mobbing, you're getting the same thing done. So I have no issue with people removing that. And I actually have had teams that moved to that. Not every team I ever worked with did pairing 100% of the time, but I have worked with teams that do that. And at that point, they've already done the work. So there's no reason to go through that one more time. Let's see, Justin. So there is a Slack channel that's out there. It's on the Hands-On Agile Slack server, but I am working on getting Discord up and running. So Discord is similar to Slack. It has some very good integrations with Twitch that allows specific similar functionality between Slack and subscribers and followers to operate the same way in a Discord server. So in the Discord server, there will be private rooms for subscribers, again, to give people some extra bonus. There are certainly going to be open and general rooms because I don't ever want to lock people out. That's not the intent. So I'm doing a little bit more work on that, but you can click on that link that's in chat and go to our Discord server. So that's there. I think the integration is much better with Twitch. It certainly fits. That's how most Twitch streamers create a continuing discussion with their viewers. So that's there, but many people have jumped on Slack. So if you're in the Hands-On Agile, that's there. It's Kazians. You may need an invite to that, but I'm sure somebody here can hook you up with that. But again, I am working on getting the Discord server up and running. So number one, you can click on that link that's in there. You can type in bang Discord anytime to get the link. So that's there. Okay, here we go. I'm going to catch up a little bit. Wow. So 10x preparation. I can tell you, Scrum Sarge, I'm catching up on your key takeaway from the 360 leader. I have not spent 10x preparation, but that's certainly a aspirational metric. And Jamie, I'm glad to read that you are really annoying. I find that good Scrum Masters are annoying. It's like, that's what we do. That's who we are. Yeah, I think the initial reaction of "you'll never persuade us" or whatever the terminology that they use is concerning, but I would not run away screaming with my hair on fire. Again, I would dig in a little bit more around their code review process and how effective is it. So before you go in swinging a hammer, spend time educating yourself on exactly what code reviews mean to them. Sit down with them. Sit down with somebody doing a code review. So in your next stand-up, say, hey, who's doing a code review this afternoon or this morning? Can I just sit down and watch? I just want to learn. I want to see the challenges or the frustrations or what is working, what isn't working. Just help me learn. So I would start with that. And what you'll be amazed at is that will start to open doors because they start to see that you're investing. You're trying to learn, you're trying to understand. So that's something you may want to try. So for the teams that I've worked with that have done code reviews, it's usually separate. So we've spent a lot of our time powered by Git, and people create a pull request, and in that there's functionality to ask for reviewers, and there's been really nice functionality where we've been able to require 2 approvals, and that's got a good interface for people to leave comments. We don't do it in real time unless you're pairing. So if you're pairing, you're doing it in real time, but the code reviews don't happen where I sit down with that person and talk through, because most of the time, and as you get better, you're reading, you're learning, you're understanding, and hey, yeah, that's good, great job. It doesn't make a lot of sense to tie up two people at the same time to go through that. Now, maybe you've got a terribly messy one and you grab that person and sit down with them and start asking questions. So that's always the right answer. Instead of 1,000 comments, the last thing you want to do is put 1,000 comments and throw it over the wall, say, have fun with that, buddy, is okay. So this is Sue. Fire Sue's going to code review my work, and that's terrible. Terrible. Rather than putting 1,000 comments in there and throwing it over the wall, she would grab me and say, hey, Josh, can you walk me through this code? I'm not understanding. Help me understand some of the choices that you made and why, because it's a little concerning to me, but I just need to learn more. So again, the first response should be educating as opposed to attacking. All right. So Scrum Sarge, I have heard many people talk about removing code as the primary thing. And I think when you're working with a newer code base, that doesn't apply as much. When you're working with an older code base, the likelihood that removal is going to be more important is certainly much higher. And that's where you need to focus, because there's likely a lot of bloat and no one wants that. But again, that's one of those things. Let me get Windows back. There we go. Hey, we got people in the Discord server. Yeah, and we can even, it syncs our, it should. It's supposed to sync our, oh, it hasn't done that yet. I've got to work it. Anyways, our custom emotes in Twitch are supposed to be synced in Discord. So that way, again, the user experience is consistent. And I'm working on, again, it's not fully set up. I am working on that. There's opportunity for audio chat in there. So there's some really cool things. Okay, back to questions here. Yeah, names aren't always the same between Twitch and Slack. That's for sure. But like I said, I am working on Discord. There's a couple people that have already jumped in over there. So thanks for doing that. I know it's another chat platform, and I understand that. So some folks may not want to be a part of that. But it is a nice integration. It keeps the community going. There's things that we can do across both of those channels and make things work. So that's exciting. All right, here we go. Catching up on Jamie's response to Justin. Yeah, so Jamie, that's one of those interesting things where that contradictory point, again, is initially rejected and they just stop listening. So you've got to revisit, come back. I actually misread it myself, Justin. So I read it kind of like you did, Justin. So you are not alone in misreading that. So I understand. So if you have not, and you have Amazon Prime, you can connect the two and subscribe for free. That again allows these emotes to be a thing that you can do. If you like Walter, maybe you don't like Walter, maybe you're tired of Walter. And also we'll get subscriber only access in Discord. Again, I'm building that, and I hope to have that ready for next Tuesday. Regarding upcoming streams, I'm going to be with Kraz 47, 457. I think Kraz 457. So I'm gonna be with Kraz next Thursday. He's relatively local. He's in the East Coast here in North Carolina. I'm going to be spending the day with him, and we're going to have a Twitch stream. He's going to be on the Twitch stream. I'm going to be asking some questions. He seems to have some really cool stuff going on there, so I just want to share and highlight anybody in the community. So it won't be 10 o'clock next Thursday. It will be 10 o'clock on Tuesday. Next Thursday will probably be around noonish Eastern, because I'm going to be working with them in the morning and the afternoon, but we are setting up to have our Twitch stream go live on Thursday, as it always does, but it will be a couple hours later. But the exciting thing is that Kraz457, I think I got his username right. We're going to be with him, and I just want to highlight some of the things he's doing, ask some questions, and maybe you guys can ask some questions about the process that he's got going on. So I'm excited to be there. I'm excited to highlight a member of the community. Did I say I was going to BS some questions? I may have. You never know. I didn't intend to. That's not my intention. But anything's possible. I have opened my mouth and inserted my foot many times. It's really good when I do it in a giant tribe gathering and there's like 70 people there. All right, sorry. Answering something there. So, let's see. How are we doing on time? We got about 10 minutes. We got some folks that are new here or aren't here as often. So, Justin, thanks for coming in. I hope Lynn was able to figure out the browser issue. We can get that sorted out if you haven't had any problems. Again, I'm going to try and add some of those books to our recommended list. I'm going to go back through the chat and add that, so that way that's there. Keep sending those in. Again, our whole goal here is to have this be as beneficial as possible to the folks that are here all the time, and folks that are new. So, well, dang it, Lynn. I wish I could figure out how to help you. But Amazon's your friend. Google's your friend. What book were you particularly after? We can help there in however we can. Oh, man. Way to go. Way to go, Jamie. So that's fantastic to hear. Fantastic to hear. It is one of those things where you may just have to go in and have one of those difficult discussions. And as uncomfortable as those difficult discussions may be, you'll be surprised at how much better things are on the back end of that discussion. When you just put things on the table, get people to align, that's where real success happens. So, Jamie, fantastic to hear that you got out the gumption to do that. That went well, and that it's having a positive effect. So, high five. Well done. That's exciting. I can't wait to hear more stories about that. So, thank you for doing that. Thank you for bringing an update back. Yeah, Lynn, we'll see what we can figure out. So you are in a browser. You are watching in Chrome. If you just click on Walter back there. Walter back there. And just under the live in the upper right-hand corner, you should see like the Amazon arrow. That looks like a bit like a smile. And there's a purple button that expands it out there. Oh, man, backlog on reading. So I was at Bob's house. We did a stream on Tuesday and then a podcast episode, which will be coming out in probably a week or two. And so if you've seen the stream when I'm at Bob's house, he's got this bookshelf that's behind me. And it is floor to ceiling, like literally floor to ceiling and the entire wall. And it's filled with books. And he has a ton of books on there that I haven't read. So I just started asking questions, and we're both nerds. and he had a ton of, let's see, Terry Pratchett and Terry Brooks novels out there. Like he had feet worth in width of books for each of those authors, and I had never read any of them. So he grabbed a book off the shelf and like shoved it into my face and was like, "You have to read this." so I walked away with a new book added to my list of things that I need to read that I haven't yet. But I did start it last night. It was pretty good. Another thing that I've done is I actually signed up for an audible.com account, and I'm not as good as I'd like to be, but that helps me. I do have some decent drives to and from work, or to and from to pick up the kids from school or sports or things like that. I'm not as consistent in habits as possible as I would like to be with those, but I do have a fair amount of books that I have on there. But I still find that I don't absorb it as well when listening to it versus reading, because I'm essentially doing two things at once. So when I am reading a book, like I'm one of those people that nothing else can be going on. I can't read a book while somebody is watching TV. Like my brain can't focus like that. But if I do listen to a book, I'm in the car and I'm driving and other stuff's going on. So I'm not paying as much attention as I should. So I find that I listen to it, but I personally, I haven't found it to be as effective yet. So maybe I can just alter the way that I work. Oh man, that's a short list. I'd hate to see your long list, Lynn. Let's see. All right. Cool. We're rolling right along. Those are, let's see, Coaching Agile Teams is the only book on that list that I've heard of. So that's fantastic, Lynn. And I think I only heard of that book because of this Twitch channel. So learning a lot. Yeah, and actually Bob and I were joking with each other about reading business books, and he was giving me a hard time, and he said, "I bet you've never read a business book from cover to cover." And I sat there for a minute. I had to think, and I think the only ones I really have read cover to cover, like truly cover to cover, every word, was Turn the Ship Around and Great by Choice. So those are both in the recommended list, but I end up getting about halfway through and then I start skimming the rest. Bob actually was telling me he starts skimming and then finds points to dig in, which I thought was a better approach than what I was doing. I went in with a bunch of enthusiasm. I'm going to read this whole thing. And then halfway through, I kind of lose steam. So I'm going to start switching to Bob's approach of skimming to start and then finding points where I need to dig in. His is a much more intelligent approach than the way I was doing too. Um, so yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's how it started. Well, actually, Bob has 4 books, so uh, he was giving me a hard time about the fact that I hadn't read his books. That's a good idea. Reading it at 2x. That's not a bad idea. Yeah, I've not read any of, and like he's given me signed copies. Like personally, like to my dear friend Josh, you're the best co-host a guy could ever have. No, he wasn't that nice. But yeah, he's given me copies of multiples of his books, and I've not read them. I'm a terrible, terrible friend. That's really what it's all about. Oh man, agile ideation. That's a fantastic question. I don't know. He was talking to me about it yesterday. About he's working on it, and he was adding, not yesterday, Tuesday, that he was adding some things. So I will be sure to poke him and give him a hard time and say, stop talking about it and actually release that daggone things. Agile Derek, they're probably worth about the ink. No, that is, I shouldn't be so mean to Bob. So, yeah, they're probably worth something. They're probably worth something. Oh, snap, Scrum Sarge, last February? Let's see. What, so we're saying his, I want Amazon.com here. Bob Gale and his PO book. Let's see. There's the Scrum product ownership, balancing from the inside out. I can't tell versions here. A newer edition of this item. Okay, here we go. So Scrum product ownership, balancing value from inside out, second edition. So that was, can we see when it was released? Let's see. March of 2013 was when it was released. So I'd say he's overdue. Whoa, there's a summary service? Like Cliff Notes as a service? That would be pretty cool. Wow, that'd be interesting. Yes, they are in near mint condition. Actually, I think one of them is still like sliding around in my trunk. Gosh, I'm a jerk. Like, the more I say about this, the more I feel like a jerk. I need to like give Bob a hug when I see him next time and apologize for being such a terrible friend. That's an interesting idea. Blink list? Oh man. Jelm, welcome. Blink list. I gotta check that out. That's a cool idea. I could use that. There you go. Fit reading in your life. Key takeaways from the world's best nonfiction books in text and audio. There's 2,500 titles. Insights in 15 minutes. That's a cool idea. We have to give this a shot. Look at that. Learning stuff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Cool. All right. Well, one last pitch. Questions? Anyone? Any challenges you're wrestling with at work, at home, or at play? Struggling to read books is where there's so much to read and so much to learn. It's information overload, but it's cool to see. Actually, I do hope Bob is watching today because I like to give Bob a hard time. But I'll give him a hard time when I see him, so that'll be good. Yeah, how much is Blinklist? Does it say? I did see start free trial, but I don't like starting a free trial without knowing what happens after the free trial. Let's see. Pricing. There we go. Let's see. $7.50 a month for premium if you pay yearly. If you pay monthly, it's $15 a month. There is basic. There is access one pre-selected free daily read. So maybe you'll get lucky if you sign up for free and they'll have the one that you want there. So that'd be cool. Oh man, only 7 days? That is kind of rough. Yeah. But not bad. That's an interesting idea. Like I wonder how they do that. I would be interested to see the technology behind that. Agile Ideation. Thank you too. Thanks for hanging out. Jamie, drop down for gift a sub. So because you're already a subscriber, you can gift a subscription. So you give a subscription specifically to somebody, or you can gift it anonymously. So you can give it to the community, you can give it to a specific viewer. That is not covered by Twitch Prime. So that is your hard-earned cash shelling out, helping someone subscribe. So that is certainly something that I'll probably start doing as we get closer and closer to the holidays, is gifting a few subs out for folks, for random people that are coming in, running a few contests and things like that. And just as I, again, continue to figure out Twitch and learn how to operate a little bit better, I want to do some more of that. So yeah, gifting subs is something that you can do. So you can give a sub to somebody, you can give it to the community, and Twitch just picks somebody and gives it to them. But again, that is your hard-earned cash. So while I appreciate it, certainly not required. Twitch Prime is free and easy, so that's cool. But if you do decide you want to part with your hard-earned cash, I appreciate that. That would be cool. You can give that to somebody, or if you don't have Twitch Prime, you can just pay for your own sub there. And sub gets you custom emotes like Kazi Walter, as we're seeing there. It is going to get you into subscriber only rooms in Discord. Again, I'm building that out, as you can see by the announcement below. I'm working on that. I got it up and running. I'm still figuring out how to configure it as effectively as possible. So that'll be another place for us to continue our discussions and continue helping each other. So that's the plan. All right, my friends. I have nothing else to say other than thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for helping each other. Thank you for all the great book subscriptions, book ideas, book suggestions. I'll learn how to get my words lined up correctly. So I'm going to come out of this. I'm going to update our recommendation list with a few of the things that are out there. I'm going to go probably add a few things. I'm going to check out this Blink list. I'll probably not sign up. I'm going to maybe do that free trial, try the free daily one, at least pick up a book that I maybe had no idea I would want to read, and in 15 minutes maybe get the quick version. So I'm going to give that a shot. I thank everyone for being here. As a reminder, Tuesday will be normal time. Thursday next week will probably be around noonish as I head out and spend some time with Kraz 457. So I look forward to it. And once again, thank you all.